What's up, y'all? Y'all know why I'm here, just like I know why y'all here. Just to give y'all a heads up before we even get started, in case you want to click out the video. Look, this isn't one of those videos that's gonna go through the paperwork of child support and show you why child support is illegal and how you can finesse your way and get out of child support. I ain't gonna lie, I seen those videos and I don't know how to do none of that. I ain't gonna lie to you. If I had the information, I'd give it to you for free 99. I wouldn't gatekeep it at all. No funny. Next Friday is a good representation of child support. Like they dealing with Baby D, and Baby D is child support. Like I promise you, if you've never seen the movie, go check it out. Definitely a black classic. You know what I'm saying? It's definitely a culture classic. If you know, you know, and if you don't know, you should find out. You hear me? Real quick, something about child support. It seems like most people don't understand it, and they won't understand it unless they go through it themselves or they witness somebody go through it firsthand, you know, and you trying to explain it, it's like people still just genuinely don't get it. It's almost like when Day Day was trying to explain Baby D to Craig. Y'all remember that?
Wait, you got a restraining order on a little girl named Baby D. You don't know Baby D. You don't know, that's why you're looking at me, because you don't know Baby D.
The things I want to share today, hopefully they can help somebody who's been on child support, somebody who just got on child support, or somebody who's about to go on child support. Help you just navigate your way through certain things so you don't get caught in some of the traps or some of the pitfalls and stuff of child support. One of the main things that I want to talk about for real is arrears. So arrears really just means that you're behind in child support. You owe them people. You feel me? You owe them people. Now, those things can happen for different reasons. One of those reasons being you just didn't pay, or it could be through a modification. Now, real quick, before I break down how it could be through a modification, I just want to explain to you a modification and how it works. Now, you can file for a modification, and that's just to modify the payments, right? Or your child's PG could file for a modification. And when I say your child PG, that just means your child's primary caregiver. That's what I mean when I say that in this video. So your child's PG is your child's primary caregiver. So your child's PG can file for a modification, or child support itself could file for a modification. Now, usually it's every 3 years or every 2 years, or it depends on the state on how often you can do these modifications, or if it's something big that happens like a loss of a job, or if a new bill comes on for the child, right? But in terms of modification, like if your child PG or the child support decides to file the modification, what will happen is they'll file this modification, you will be served, and they'll have you come to court.
Who is it?
Got a delivery. Come on, spark plug. Come on, I got a delivery. It's kind of hot out here, buddy. Got a little mail for you to sign. Partner.
What's this?
It's back to the ghetto you go. Take it easy. Hustling and surviving. Good time.
So you can get a lawyer, or you can work it out and discuss it with your child's PG. Now, what will happen is if y'all go to court, they'll put y'all total gross income on a scale and weigh it out. Now, total gross income, meaning before taxes. So it's not what you actually are making, it's your total gross income. You feel me? So they look at it like that, and then they weigh it out and do what child support does. First off, when you're dealing with a modification, you don't know whether it's going to go up, whether it's going to go down, whether it's going to stay the same. Also, when they file for the modification, this is what happens. Let's say you were paying $500 a month for child support already. Then they file for a modification in January. Everything doesn't get settled until May. That's 5 months. So let's say you were paying the $500 a month, but when they did the modification, they added another $500 to it. So what happens is from January till May, even though you was paying your $500 a month, you have to pay that extra $500 a month that they added on top. Meaning, so now you have to go back and pay an extra $500 for January, February, March, April, and May. Now you in arrears $2,500.
Worst day of my life.
That junk sound crazy, right? But yeah, so that's how they do it. A lot of people wind up in arrears due to modifications. Hopefully that makes sense. Arrears can be detrimental to you in the fact of, so for one, being in arrears will mess your credit up. For two, being in arrears, when income tax comes around, they'll take your income tax check. So if your income tax check was $2,500 and you owe $2,500, they're taking a whole $2,500. Number three, Another thing that could happen is them people will come get you. You hear them, right? You hear them. They get excessive. Them people gonna come see you about that.
Good job. Good job.
Them boys in blue come knock at that door. They come pick you up. You know what I'm saying? They put a warrant out for your arrest or whatever. And that's usually if it exceeds a certain amount. Like if it's a crazy amount and you're not paying. And honestly, before them boys in blue come get you, it's different levels that they go through before they just come pick you up. Your caseworker probably will reach out to you and ask you what's been going on, why you haven't been paying, or they'll send you a letter saying if you don't pay this certain amount by a certain time, you're gonna have a court date, and then they'll bring you into court. Or if you miss that court date, probably be a warrant out for your arrest. Those type of things. The fourth thing that can happen is your passport. They gonna snip that. They gonna get that up out of there. Now, if you exceed over $10,000, it's over for your passport. They gonna take your passport away. Now, let's say if you owe $2,500 or more, what will happen is you can't get a passport. Like if you don't have a passport and you try and go get a passport, they won't allow you to get a passport. If you had a passport and it expires and you owe over $2,500, then they won't let you get a passport. You go through all the paperwork for a passport. You could go to the passport facility, all of that stuff. They'll let you do all the paperwork and pay for everything. And what'll happen is they'll send you a letter back saying, yeah, you got to pay them people first. Until then, you can do what you want to do inside the USA, but you ain't leaving the country, my brother or sister. And you ain't going nowhere. That's what they're going to tell you, you know. And what they're going to tell you is you can't get a passport until you pay it down to zero. All right, you have to literally pay it down to zero. So if it's $2,500 or more, and you're trying to get a passport for the first time, or you're trying to renew an old passport or renew an expired passport, they're gonna tell you you cannot get a passport until you pay it down to zero. The fifth thing is they'll garnish your checks. So if you're getting paid from your job and stuff like that, oh, let me get that. They're gonna take from there. They're gonna take from there. You know, long story short, they gonna be on your body until they get their money. Like some way, somehow, they gonna get it about you. If you ain't get nothing from them examples I just gave you, get that. They gonna be on your body just like this until they get what they need.
Do your mom know you act so
Come on, girl, you better go on with the bullshit. Y'all do something about it. You better quit bullshit. Man, you better stop running from that girl.
So when you're stuck in arrears and you're dealing with all these things, your credit is messed up, you can't get a passport, they taking your income tax check, they taking your paycheck, there is a few options that you have. One of those options being a consent to credit. Now, before we get into consent to credit, I just want to get something clear. I don't know if y'all know, but your child's PG does have the power to go into child support and tell them they no longer want you on child support and that they want to remove you from child support. And this is when we get into consent to credit. Now, let's just say you're in arrears $10,000. Your child's PG has the power to go into child support, tell them and sign papers saying that they want to remove your arrears, to be honest. So the $10,000 will no longer exist. Now, you'll still be on child support, but you'll no longer be in arrears. The only thing about that is, well, there's a few things about that, but one of the things about that is once they remove the arrears from your account, they can never get it back. So if your child's PG goes into child support and does a consent to credit and removes the arrears for you, they can never get it back. Like if they get mad at you the next day and want to get it back, they can't do that. Now, a consent to credit, right? You asking your child's PG to remove your arrears.
I can do what? Yeah, don't say nothing like that.
I know that junk sound crazy. It sound like a lot, right? But I mean, hey, sometimes you gotta swing for the fences. But what I do want to do is I want to give you a couple ways that you might be able to work things out with your child's PG. If you're in a situation where you owe a lot for your arrears and you want to make this consent to credit work. I'm not saying it's gonna work, but here's a couple options. One, you could do what I said earlier. You could ask them just to remove the whole thing. Best of luck with that. You feel me? Hey, but it don't hurt to try. Two, what you could do is you can ask them to remove at least some of it. Like if you owe 10,000, can you knock off a couple thousand for me, or 5,000 or something like that, whatever. You know, for the next couple that I'm gonna give you, what I would advise you to do is create a contract, right? And I'll put a template in here for you. You know, create a contract, and in this contract, make a section to where it could be notarized, right? So make it a legal bonding document, meaning that it's a space for y'all both to sign, and then you could go to a notary and have the notary stamp it and sign it and everything. The third option when working inside of a consent to credit, if you had this contract up, let's say if you owe 10,000, what you could do is write it inside the contract to where it says, if you go and get the 10,000 removed, I will immediately give you $5,000 cash. You know, so that 5,000 goes right to you, and now your balance is completely clear. I mean, that's a hit or a miss. It's different ways you could tweak it and work it to whatever best fits you and your situation. The other option I would say is, inside of the contract, work it to where it's a payment plan. Talking to your child's PG and you like, all right, I don't have 10,000, right? Are you willing to chop something off of that? And let's say they say, I'll chop it down to 7 for you. All right, cool. I ain't gonna hold you. I don't have 7 right now. But inside this contract, what we looking at is I could give you 2,000 right now, and then a monthly plan of 1,000 on top of whatever I pay for child support. Now, if they agree to that, then we have to move forward with the contract in terms of going down to the notary, y'all both signing, the notary signs, but also the child's PG has to go down to child support and get the arrears removed. So now that the contract can actually go into play, all right? And also on top of that, make sure you give yourself some breathing room in terms of that first payment, you know what I'm saying, to make sure that you can actually do it. So also remember, you could tweak it so it fits you and your financial situation. Now, after your child's PG goes down to child support and gets your arrears removed completely, then we put the contract into play. And that's something that you're gonna wanna put in the contract. Hopefully that made sense, right? Just trying to make something where it's a negotiation. You know, what they say, even exchange ain't robbery. You know what I'm saying?
Baby D, gone with the bullshit. Now you ain't gonna catch me as usual, baby D. Come on, let's make a deal while we can. You're not gonna catch me.
So really just trying to work out some kind of negotiation that best fits the both of y'all, to where it's kind of like you no longer in the arrears and your child PG still gets money and stuff like that. Because honestly speaking, some people tend to drag it out where they just pay an extra $25 a month and just keep doing that and drag it out they could drag it out for 30 years if they wanted to, depending on how much they owe. And in most cases, when people see lump sums of money in their face, they tend to jump on it. Not all the time, but hey, you never know. Gotta take a swing for the fences, you feel me?
How about that? Just like you had in jail, the commissary. Without the wrapper, you can get to it quick. Look.
I'm gonna die.
Now you a fat ass ain't. Yeah. Taste it, baby D. Yeah, that's good. Eat that.
Another option is you can file for a modification yourself. Now, if you file for a modification, you don't want it to backfire on you, and you want it to make sense why you're filing for a modification. Example, if you lose your job, or if you get another job and this job pays less than it was, then you might want to file for a modification so you're not paying the same high payment that you was paying because you had a certain job and you need to come down a little bit, right? Or you can also file for a modification. Let's say a year ago you got laid off for a year and then you got your job back. So for that 1 year you didn't have any job and you didn't have any way of paying child support, right? You can go back and modify that time period. But I do want to tell you this though, be careful, because the modification can mess with you. Let's say you go back and get that time period modified, but your new job that you have, you're getting paid more, or you came back to your job and you get paid more. Now, if you're gonna modify, be careful though, because child support will go back and look over everything. I'm talking about looking at what you're presently making. So if you're making more than you was before, yeah, child support could definitely go in and make their own modification, and now you'll wind up having to pay more than you previously was. You know, so with that being said, listen, you got to choose your battles wisely. If it's better to just leave it alone and just leave it as what it is, then just leave it as what it is. Another thing with modifications that you definitely need to know, you need to understand. Now, you can go down to child support and tell them that you want to request a modification. They'll give you everything and set up the court dates and all that stuff, meaning that your child's PG will be served, right? Now they're going to get the paperwork. They're going to get those knocks at the door and all that stuff, and they're going to get court dates. So that's something that you can let your child's PG know ahead of time, Or you could just let it be a surprise, whichever way you feel works best for you if you decide to do that. One thing I'll tell you is make sure you get a good lawyer. You know what I'm saying? Definitely make sure you get a good lawyer. Make sure you got everything intact and everything lined up. Get you a lawyer that's going to be able to beat that case. I'm talking about like how Craig was beating Chico. You feel me?
Got something for him. Get his ass in. You Uncle Willie's son. You Uncle Willie's son. He don't play that shit.
Look, if you decide to go through with filing for a modification and you have to go down to child support, I just want you to prepare yourself mentally. You know what I'm saying? Woosah before you go in there. Because the caseworkers, secretaries, all that stuff, I ain't gonna front. They've been known to have attitudes for no reason. You know what I'm saying? And not saying all of them, you know, but this is just what they've been known to have. You know, you really go down there and it's a strong chance they could be talking to you like,
now who sent you, nigga?
Nobody sent me.
Say another mother word and it's over. Say it again. Say something else.
but look, just stay calm. Don't let none of that get to you and handle what you got to handle and get what you need to get done. One last tip, right? If you're having a hard time paying child support or keeping up with child support and stuff like that, what you should do is look into your schedule and see what your free time look like and look into spending more time with your kid. One of those reasons, of course, is I would like to think that you like spending time with your kid and your kid likes spending time with you. So that's just a good thing overall. Also, what you're looking at is the court takes into consideration for parenting time, meaning the more time that you actually have your kid, the less that you have to pay in child support. So if you already have a custody agreement set up, you might want to go in there and modify that. Or what you might want to do if you don't have a custody agreement, go in there and get one. Also, check out this information I got for you. Look, the best piece of advice I could give you, and it really goes without saying, but I'm going to say it anyway, pay them people. You feel me? For one, they not playing about their money. They going to come see you about their money. For two, when you're in arrears, dealing with all of that, it's a super inconvenience. Super inconvenience. Like, it holds you back from doing so many different things, man. So, honestly, just pay them people. Yeah. One day it'll be over. That's all I can tell you is one day it'll be over and you'll be off child support. You know, wrap it up. Let's start there. Let's start there. Wrap it up. You feel me? Just like I'm about to wrap this up. You know what I mean? But one day it'll be over though. You hear me? Pay them people.
Clean, fresh air. Just smell good, huh? Yeah. Tastes good. Taste the air. Ah, yeah.
Other than that, man, I'm out of here, man. I holla at you. Appreciate you.